Alright, let's talk about something we've all experienced. You know that feeling when you just have to buy something new, even though you don't really need it? It's that pull you get when you see the latest tech gadget, a new pair of shoes, or a random deal you stumble upon online. And before you know it, you've clicked buy now, or swiped your card, even though you promised yourself you were going to cut back on spending this month. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. You're not alone. The average person spends hundreds, if not thousands, on things they don't really need every year. And afterward, they wonder, why can't I just stop? It's not that you lack willpower. It's not that you're just bad with money. There's something much deeper at play here, and it's a hidden force that controls your spending habits more than you might think. Today, we're going to uncover the secret behind why you're stuck in a cycle of overspending, and, more importantly, how you can break free for good. This is the stuff that nobody talks about but affects almost everyone. But before we dive in, let me tell you, it's going to get real. You'll want to stick around because what we're about to cover might just change the way you look at your spending habits forever. Step 1. The hidden reason your brain is hooked on spending. First things first, let's get real about why this is happening. The truth is, we are hardwired to crave spending, and it's not your fault. In fact, your brain is designed to seek out things that make you feel good, things that promise comfort or satisfaction. Think about it. Back in the day, when we were hunter-gatherers, resources were scarce. Our brains were programmed to crave anything that would increase our chances of survival, whether it was food, shelter, or tools. Fast forward to today, and we still have that same brain. The only difference is, instead of hunting and gathering in the wild, we're scrolling and clicking through Amazon and other online stores, hunting for that next dopamine hit. When you buy something, anything, it triggers a little shot of dopamine, your brain's feel-good chemical. And that feels amazing, doesn't it? That's why so many of us get addicted to shopping. But here's where the trap comes in. Step 2. Why one purchase is never enough. The dopamine trap. So you make a purchase, you feel good, but here's the problem. Our brains are greedy. The more often we get that dopamine hit, the more we want it. And over time, those small purchases don't do it for us anymore. It's like chasing a high. What used to give you that rush now feels like nothing. That's why that $10 item isn't exciting anymore, and suddenly you're buying more expensive things just to feel the same thrill. It's not about the item itself, it's about the feeling that comes with it. The trouble is, each time you give in to that urge, your brain becomes conditioned to expect the next hit of dopamine faster. You end up creating a cycle where your brain is always searching for the next thing that will give you that rush. But it's a short-term fix, because right after the dopamine spike, something else kicks in. And that's where the real danger lies. Step 3. The pleasure-pain balance. Why spending always leads to guilt. This is where things get tricky. Your brain doesn't just seek pleasure, it also tries to keep things in balance. So after you experience that rush of excitement from spending money, guess what happens? The seesaw tips the other way, and you feel pain. It's not physical pain, but emotional pain. You might feel guilt, regret, or even boredom once the excitement of the purchase wears off. That's your brain trying to even out the pleasure by tipping the scale back to balance. And here's the dangerous part. When you feel that post-purchase regret or emptiness, you naturally want to get back to feeling good again. So what do? You buy something else. And boom, you're back in the cycle. Spend, feel good, regret, spend again. Over and over. But here's the kicker. The more you chase that high, the worse it gets. You're not just overspending, you're training your brain to become addicted to the cycle itself. And this addiction can be incredibly hard to break, unless you know the secret to resetting your brain. Step 4. How to reset your brain's pleasure response. So how do you break free from this cycle? The answer lies in resetting your brain's pleasure response. And no, it's not as simple as just saying, I'll stop buying stuff. You need to take active steps to rewire the way your brain reacts to spending. Step 1 is called a dopamine detox. This is where you deliberately stop feeding your brain those instant pleasure hits. For the next few weeks, challenge yourself to avoid unnecessary purchases, anything that gives you that instant rush. This isn't easy. Your brain will fight you. It's used to those regular dopamine hits, so when you cut them off, you'll feel restless, bored, and even uncomfortable. But this discomfort is exactly what your brain needs to reset. You're teaching your brain to stop seeking pleasure from spending. But that's not all. There's a deeper part of this process that most people don't understand, and it's what separates those who successfully break the cycle from those who don't. And that's exactly what we're going to explore next. Step 5. Facing the emotional triggers behind your spending. Let's talk about what's really driving your spending. Here's something most people won't tell you. It's not about the things you buy. It's about what's going on beneath the surface. We spend money not just because we want stuff, but because we're trying to escape something. Maybe it's stress. Maybe it's boredom. Maybe it's loneliness. Whenever you feel those negative emotions, your brain looks for a quick way out, and spending money is one of the easiest escapes. Think about the last time you made an impulse purchase. Were you feeling a little off that day? Maybe work was stressful, or you were just having a bad day. That emotional state is a massive driver behind impulse spending, and until you face those triggers head-on, your spending habits won't change. So how do you deal with those emotions without reaching for your wallet? You need to find healthier outlets. Maybe it's exercise. Maybe it's journaling or talking to a friend. Maybe it's picking up a new hobby that distracts your mind in a more productive way. Before we dive deeper into breaking this emotional cycle, if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'm putting out more videos like this every week, and next time we're going to dive even further into how to rewire your brain for smarter spending. Alright, now let's talk about the most important and most difficult step of all. Step 6. The power of embracing discomfort. Here's something that might sound counterintuitive. One of the best ways to reset your spending habits is to embrace discomfort. That's right. The secret to breaking free from overspending isn't avoiding discomfort, it's leaning into it. When you choose to face discomfort head-on, like going for a run when you don't feel like it, or taking a cold shower, you're training your brain to find satisfaction in challenges rather than seeking pleasure from spending. This process rewires your brain to associate pleasure with effort, not consumption. Over time, this builds resilience and helps you break the cycle of spending for emotional relief. But here's where most people get stuck. This isn't easy. Your brain will resist. And the key to pushing through isn't just about willpower. It's about knowing how to make discomfort work for you. And in the next video, we'll explore how you can use discomfort to permanently shift your mindset. Step 7. The long-term fix, building new habits. Finally, let's talk about the long game. The key to breaking the spending addiction isn't just cutting back. It's replacing bad habits with good ones. Start small. Create new routines. When you feel the urge to spend, have a plan in place. Maybe it's going for a walk, calling a friend, or working on a creative project. The more you build these habits, the easier it becomes to resist those spending urges. And remember, this is a journey. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. The more you train your brain to find pleasure in experiences, relationships, and personal growth, the less you'll need to rely on spending for that dopamine hit. If this resonates with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share your thoughts in the comments. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to spending? Let's talk about it. I'll be responding to as many comments as I can. And in the next video, we're going even deeper into how to break those emotional triggers that drive your spending. So be sure to stay tuned.